So thanks for inviting me to this event. I'm Matias Dalsgaard. I'm founder and CEO of GoMore. I'm just going to tell you a little about what GoMore does, for those of you who might not know it. And then I'm going to give two very concrete examples of what we've done after launching in Norway and Sweden this summer, starting with absolutely 0 members in markets that did not exist for what we do, and really struggling to get started the first month until we found something that actually worked. I'm not going to give you a huge growth strategy or anything like that. I thought it would be more fun actually just to point to a few things that we did that worked, at least at the stage we're at now in these very new markets. So GoMore is about car sharing. We are a marketplace for peer-to-peer sharing of cars. We do two things. We do ride sharing, some person in Danish, and peer-to-peer car rental, also now including a leasing model on top of that. We are coming also, these are things that are already happening through our apps and our web solutions, package delivery and more real-time in-city ride sharing. These are all coming as natural extensions of what we're doing, but it's really about sharing the car and using the car capacity better, both to the benefit of the consumer, of his or her private economy, but also to the benefit of the environment and for congestion or limiting the congestion, for instance, in the big cities. So we see ourselves, we do more things. We're not only a ride-sharing app, we're not only a rental app, we don't only do leasing, because you want to become a preferred app for mobility for the individual user, being in need of transportation. So we say GoMore is a car when you need it. It's car comfort at a low cost. It's social travel and experience. That is important, by the way. Have so many good experiences among the users out there on the roads. And then most societal level, it's a better utilization of cars. Just to tell a little more about the 3 concepts that we have running on the platform now. There's the ride sharing looking pretty much like this. You can go to our website and then browse. I want to go from Aarhus to Copenhagen, for instance. You make a search, like you search for a bus or a train ticket. A long list now of cars coming up, and you then book your ride, like if you booked a train or bus ticket. Altogether, we have 450,000 members. We are in 4 markets. Denmark is the biggest, then newly launched in Norway and Sweden, and then we also just recently merged with a carpooling company in Southern Europe. I cannot tell more about that right now, but we're going to reveal more a little later this year. Okay, so we've grown quite fast, 40,000 new members per month altogether, and 1,000 visitors. Not so interesting itself. Maybe more interesting, there are between 5,000 and 10,000 rides offered every day. So it's quite a huge supply of rides already, and it's quite obvious that we have, just in Denmark, we have 2.5 million cars. If these cars, when driving, started offering some of the empty seats, there would be millions of rides offered every day. So even though it's going pretty well, it's still almost nothing, as I see it, compared to what it might become going forward. Then we do rental. That's fairly new. That was launched February, actually exactly a year. Well, we're still in January, right? Officially we launched 1st of February, but actually by the end of January last year. This model where users, when they don't use their car, they can then rent them out to other members of the GoMore platform. So yeah, ride sharing is about sharing your car when you use it. Rental is about sharing it when you don't use it. It's been well received, growing fast now. We have 2,300 rented cars on the platform. We still need, I would say, somewhere between 10 and 20,000. Then we might actually not need more. Then there will be a car on every street corner in Denmark. But still fairly good numbers in the big city already. And we have more than 2,500 rental days per month now. A little less than a year after launch. Then we added this, and that is the newest thing, and actually a very funny story. We added this leasing model on top of the platform September this year in a partnership with LeasePlan, which is a huge leasing company. We only launched it in Denmark. Rental is also only launched in Denmark at this stage, but it's coming in the other markets as well. Launched this model in September. The idea was that if we could provide leasing cars very, very easily and at a low cost for users, it would be very easy for them to become car owners, and then they could have, if not a little business, then at least very much reduce their cost of the car if they then rent out this leasing car some days per month. We partnered up with LeasePlan and made a very nice package where there's no down payment on the car and only 6-month lease. This is now going up to 12, but still a very short lease and costing you nothing to start. You pay between 2,000 and 3,000 crowns per month, depending on the size of the car. And then you rent it out and you bring down your cost. If you rent it out enough, the car, a little over a week, you can actually have a car for free. And we launched this, sending out newsletter to our members, would you like a car for free? And we had 10 cars on offer the first day when we launched. And just this first day, more than 500 cars were ordered. I don't think we've ever seen 500 cars being ordered in one day in Denmark before. So that was a big success, and LeasePlan then are working hard on delivering all the cars and in general meeting this demands. Now there are between 300 and 400 cars on the street, these leasing cars, and several thousands are going to come over the next 1 to 2 years. They also come with a GoMore sticker on the back of them, so we'll also get some marketing out of that. Fine. That's what we do. Then we launched in Norway and Sweden this summer. That was only ride sharing that we started with, and we coming here, and we had a hard time, which I think all peer-to-peer models have, getting started at all. We're still at a very low level, I think, overall when you look at business and traffic and transactions. But at least now we grow fairly fast, at least compared to what we did in the beginning of this, in the summer. So we did something that actually started working. We use all, I guess, traditional, I don't know if it's traditional, but the channels you would use: PR, organic, social organic marketing, paid marketing. We do partnerships. I could tell more about that as well. We do many different things, but I'm just going to mention 2 small but fairly smart things that work and got us started collecting members. So growing in Sweden and Norway through Facebook hacks after launch in the summer 14 is what I'm going to tell about. I don't know what growth hacking is, by the way, but I always thought it was something that was close to criminal because it's hacking. So I thought I should tell about something that was close to criminal that we did, but I think it's still not a crime. Okay. Yeah. So here's the thing. One thing we did is that we created lots of groups. For instance, university groups. And we just create that on the GoMore website. And why do we do that? We do it so that we have something to promote, very targeted to students from these universities at Facebook. We don't go out and partner with these universities. That's what's criminal about it. In Denmark, actually, we would go out to, because they were fairly known, we would go out to a university and say, would you like, well, we haven't done it, but if we did it, we would actually ask them to pay us for the partnership because we give them a nice page. This is for Lund. No, sorry, that's for Uppsala University. Give them a nice page where the students can go to and look for transportation to the university city. Partners are very slow, and we do not at all have time for going out to all the different universities in Sweden and ask if they're interested in carpooling. They've never heard about that, and definitely they haven't heard about GoMore. That's too time consuming, so we just create lots of groups. And then we start targeting, we're targeting students from these universities on Facebook, say, why don't you sign up in Uppsala University ride-sharing group? We get a little bit of pushback sometimes. They write and say, hey, you cannot use our logo, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And the logo, and we keep doing it. It doesn't really matter. So that actually works. So we went from getting between 500 and 1,000 members per month to getting 3,000 members per month, spending the same amount of money that we did before, just getting less members. I think we're still acquiring them at too high a cost, but it actually works, and it's the most cost-efficient thing we found so far in a market where we're absolutely unknown. The thing is that it's much easier for people to sign up in something that they identify with already. So they say, okay, there's a carpooling group here, carpooling, that sounds nice, and it's even from my university. I want to be part of that. And we just promoted GoMore, it would be much harder to make them sign up. So okay, that worked, and then we realized, why don't we just do the same for cities? It's not me doing this. There are marketing people here. They're much smarter, actually. when it comes to this than I am. I'm just trying to repeat what they told me they've been doing the last month. Okay. So we do the same for cities. That works just as well. And the good thing is that there are even more cities out there than there are universities, of course. So we do the same. We run sponsored ad on Facebook. Why don't you sign up in Stavanger? Samkøringsgruppe from GoMore, and people sign up. That's one thing, and they get so we have, I don't know, maybe between 25 and 50 or even more groups right now in each country, and we're just running sponsored ads for these groups. It's very easy and simple, and actually when you go back, this is an absolute scam. It has absolutely no functionality. You just arrive at a landing page with a nice looking photo and and the logo from your city or from your university, and you can think that's nice and good, and you sign up. Okay. The value of these members, I think, is too low, of course, because many of them still haven't really understood what it is, or we might need much more members before there's really the critical mass to start generating the transaction and the bookings that we need. But again, it's the most cost-efficient thing that we found for a start. Another example of we call it Facebook infiltration. I mean, this is really basic work, but you just have to do it all the time and be very systematic about it. I think the marketing people are a member of like 200 to 300 groups, each of them in each country, and it's very just hands-on work, sitting and communicating with people in these groups. But they sign up, and it's, even though it seems like it would be nice if you could just build the robot that could do it all for you, but I don't think you can, and it's actually efficient. So this is more of a non-paid solution. So what is that? That is Varberg, a city in Sweden. We also create a page for them, as for many other cities, and then go to, what is this? This is Varbergsgruppen, right? The Varberg group on Facebook, and say, why don't you sign up in your new carpooling, at Varberg's new carpooling page with GoMore. So that's also efficient. That is just not paid, that is more us actually going in and discussing with people in these groups. So there was examples of hacking. We do many other things, but when you ask me for a hacker story, that was what I thought would be most fit for the occasion. Okay, thanks.